How are you?
I'm
We-
doing good. How are you doing this evening?
We're doing well. We are live, sir.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, our first time meeting. How are you?
Doing amazing in yourself.
I'm doing great. I do want to say I'm gonna pray in, and then we're gonna have a great conversation.
Okay.
Father, in Jesus' name, God, we thank you. God, if you would sit in the middle of our conversation tonight. God, if you would hear the prayers of your people. And God, we need to include you in every aspect of our life, even in our dating life. God, we need to surrender our will unto your will. And God, tonight, God, speak through your man servant
Yes,
that
Lord.
he might help us to serve you better. God, we thank you. And God, we give you praise. And God, we give you honor in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. So, Brian, I've been watching you on TikTok for a minute. Before I said something, this has been in the works for a minute as well.
Yes.
Some scheduling issues because you're a busy man. So tonight we want to talk about, and let me tell you about me. I am single. I've been divorced twice. I have 10 children. I have 8 grandchildren. I have a podcast. I have another ministry called Wives in Waiting. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. I've authored 2 books. Really working on the third book with my daughter who's been sick for 33 years, and we're
Wow.
writing a book together about her illness, and it's called reflection from a mother to a daughter. She'll
Okay.
say what she was thinking in the first chapter, and I'll say what I'm thinking. So we're a busy people. We are busy people, but I wanted you to know who you're going to be talking with. I follow you. I don't know if you follow me. So I'm as
Yes, I do.
transparent as it gets. And I'm going
Absolutely.
to ask questions maybe other women may not ask. I'm not afraid to ask the question that may make me look silly, but I think the only dumb question is the question you don't ask. And then you go into a place, a relationship, or a space, and you need to know something you don't know. So, kind of tell the people about you a bit, where they can find you, and all that good stuff.
Yes. So I can be found on TikTok, Your Love Ambassador, under TikTok, Instagram, Facebook as well. Also Facebook, Bryant Wright. So my journey began of being a relationship coach. I had some good relationships in the past, and I had some bad ones. And it inspired me to learn more about relationships because I wasn't the the quote unquote good guy at that time back in my days because I didn't have no example to follow. So I learned about being a better man and I became a better man. And I had better relationships. And learning from that, I wanted to teach people on how to have better relationships as well. So I started my journey, and most of my following is women, but I also speak to men as well. But I believe God has called me more to women because of how I treated them when I was in my teenage years. And He said, okay, you didn't do the right thing. Now that you've grown up and you become a man, I want you to show them what's happening in this world, especially the type of world that we're living in now, how to date, how to spot different actions from men. Don't just go by words, go by actions, and how to really flourish and have a healthy relationship. And don't go with your emotions, always go in with logic and thinking of when you meet someone, you know, always think about it. Don't get wooed by someone's words and don't let someone breadcrumb. So that's how my journey began, and that's my mission is to help people have a better relationship.
Okay, you're very intentional and you pay attention to everything. When I'm watching you on TikTok, it could be the smallest thing as you're walking down the street and a bird is in a tree. You're
Yes.
going to find a message
Yes.
in that. Why are you so intentional?
I believe I'm so intentional. One, I can give off facts of relationships and statistics and things like that. I think people learn more through stories and analogies, and it sticks with a person by relating something to like a bird, or relating something to like just driving down on the highway, and it relates to relationships. And I think people, it sticks to a person's mind more than me just saying this statistic says men value relationship at this number, and this statistic says women value at this number. Instead of doing that, if I can relate a story, even my personal story or someone else's story, I think it sticks better and people remember it better. And when they're getting involved in relationships, they may rethink back of when I said something that was an analogy to keep them safe and make those right decisions instead of making the wrong decision.
Okay. We're gonna build the house and work our way up. Last night I have a ministry called Wives in Waiting. When women come out of relationships, and believe me, I've been there. I've had 2 marriages. I was married to 2 amazing men. They just didn't last. And I'm not gonna beat them up because I chose them. And I'll be
Yes.
talking about them. And I had children with them as well. So, but they didn't work. And I had to really heal, clean some things up from my childhood of not having my father in my life, not having
Yes.
my mother in my life, kind of figuring out emotionally how to move in the world. So I didn't have examples of it until I came to church and I met 2 amazing women, my 2, a first lady, Vicky Embry, and my adopted mom, Dorothy Johnson. I watched the way they treated their husbands, the way they treated their children, the way that they cooked, the way that they walked, the way that they talked. And I pretended to be them until I learned to do it myself.
Yes.
But my marriage still didn't work.
Okay.
So I want to know, I am out here. This is almost 10 years I've been divorced. I've only really seriously dated one person. We dated for 4 years. I'm always going to use me. He was one of my best friends. We knew each other for 30 years before we started dating.
Mhm.
He came from a very hurt place too. And I knew he's unhealed in some places, but I just assumed as along the way he would heal. Was that a mistake when I already knew that he was, I don't like the word damaged, but he was challenged in some areas emotionally?
I wouldn't necessarily say it could have been a mistake. I can say that maybe it could have been approached with more caution, because I believe that we can learn from relationships that we get in. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a loss, but a learning lesson. And the signs that you've seen, is it possible that you could have approached it a different way? Absolutely. It is possible that you could have approached it a different way. And it depends on, because women have a heart for men that may be going through something. And sometimes women say to themselves, you know what, I know he's going through, but I believe if I love him enough,
Mm,
change. And that can be the problem. Sometimes they do change and sometimes they don't. But more than likely, a man is not going to change just because you love him more. He has to do the inward work for himself. No amount of love that you can do can change him if he hasn't done the inner work, and with him and God being the center of that. So it's not to say that you made a mistake, but it is to say that you could have maybe approached it a different way and more cautiously. And what I mean by that is, I would say sometimes women have this thing called a wall build up, and it's not good to have a wall build up, but maybe a fence. If you would have had a fence in place where you could see what was coming through, but still have that boundary, then maybe it would have been a different situation or a different scenario.
that piece you said about we think we can love them enough for them to heal. I had a broken wound syndrome. I love men with broken wounds, broken wings. And I didn't know it at the time
Yeah.
because every man I seriously dated that didn't have their father in their lives, they most likely were divorced, um, and they weren't good. They weren't good communicators. They
Yes.
communicated me privately, but when it came to serious, dig in communication, they didn't have it.
Yeah.
So I know me now because I'm 60.
Yes.
I was married at 23. I was married 17 years the first time, and the second time I was married 10 years. So
Mhm.
most of the time in my life I've been married, but now I'm out here in this dating thing, and I'm trying to make sure. First thing, I'm making sure a lot of us aren't really healed when we start dating.
Yeah.
So how can a woman know that she's not ready to jump in the dating pool? How can she know that?
She can know if she keeps rewinding in her mind the pain that someone else caused.
Mhm.
If something triggers her when she sees something and it's a trigger for her. Let me give you an example of something. Let's just say this woman had been in a relationship with a man that was in the gym, and he went to the gym a lot. He was a personal trainer, and he ended up cheating on her. So that was a trigger, and it hurt. And then she meets another guy that is a gym person, and he's a trainer, but she keeps thinking about this trigger that happened in her past relationship, and she wants to date this guy, but it still comes up, and now she's accusing him of cheating, but he hasn't done the act. So when you have those triggers, you have not healed yet. Because what if this guy is a good guy, and this next personal trainer is a good guy, and he's not going to cheat on you, but because of the past person, you haven't dealt with the past thing, you're now allowing your emotions to think that, well, this guy may cheat too because he's a personal trainer. I know he's going to cheat just like the other.
Mm.
So you have to make sure that when you get into a relationship, that you are healed from your triggers and your traumas. And also, I believe anybody, any woman or any man that has been through a traumatic relationship should get therapy, any type of therapy to heal, because just because you think you can heal yourself, there may be something that a therapist can pull out that you can't pull out that can help you when you get into your next relationship.
Okay, we're gonna jump right in real hard and fast. Now, for me, sex is off the table until I get married.
Yes.
First thing, because I'm a preacher, we already gonna say that. Secondly, I really believe that you see the real person if you're not having sex. Because women, we are very emotional creatures. And I heard you say, don't walk with emotion,
Yeah.
think, but we're not, most of us are not wired that way.
Yeah.
So we're wired, we're just emotional beings. Now, we've we've tried to do better. But when you say that, it's really hard if you're wired a certain way.
Yeah. It is challenging because um here's the thing: women can get in trouble off of off of what a man says
Mm.
and not his actions. Men get in trouble on their eyes, on what they see. So the thing is, if we know that men can woo you with their words, that's why you have to rewire in a way to think differently than what your emotions tell you. Because any man can tell you, oh, I'm going to treat you right. I'm going to buy you flowers, open the door, I pray, I go to church and all of that. Any man can say that, but what about his actions? So it's nothing wrong to have those emotions, but what happens is you got to make sure you don't act on those emotions until you see action. You have to see action. You have to see consistency. If you don't see consistency, that's what can get you into trouble. And then when you go with emotions, and let's just say he breadcrumbs you a little bit here, and then he pulls back, and you're like, well, maybe that's not what I really saw. And then your emotions go back and forth, and you want that type of emotion again because he gave it to you. But in all actuality, he may not really not be good for you because he's not consistent in what he does.
Okay, how this gonna sound real crazy. Um, you can only fake it a while. How long do you know you have to wait to make sure that's really consistency?
Everyone's going to be different. My thing is, a man that really wants you is not going to beat around the bush. He's going to be intentional about the person that he wants, because men know what they want. If they want a new car, they go get a new car. If they want a new house, they go get a new house. If they want that job, they will go after that job. If they want a woman, and that's the one he really wants, he will go after her. But if it's not someone he really wants and he just wants her on the sideline, he will try to play a part for a season, and then you'll see the mask just come off, and then you'll see the real him. So to avoid that, it can be challenging, because some people can play that role for a very long time. I've seen it played for a man can play it for years, and then the mask comes off. The thing is, you have to make sure, most importantly, that God is the center of their life. That's just me speaking. There may be some people that come on here tonight that may not believe in God, and I understand that, but I believe that God is the center. And I believe that if you just look at their life, you got to see the fruit, not just because they say they love God, they believe in God, they go to church. You have to see the fruit in motion. You have to see the fruit grow. You can't just allow them to say, I just believe in God, and not show fruit. So it will be challenging sometimes to pinpoint if a guy really has on a mask or if he really doesn't. But the good thing that you said is that you're putting in boundaries to make sure that you don't just give yourself to anyone, that you're waiting for that person that is going to say that they want to marry you, that will marry you, and that they are in it for the long haul, because that's intentionality. Any man can sleep with you for a night, but not every man wants to be with you and wake up with you every single day. So you have to make sure that you are always keeping your boundaries there. And you're going to kick a lot of jokers out of the way. But all you're waiting for is that one king. Just one. It's over billions and billions of men on this earth. You're just waiting for one. So it will get frustrating at times where you're thinking, man, when is he going to come? I keep running into all these bad people. But the truth is, you're going to, because you have boundaries and because you are precious, more precious than rubies, it's going to be a while. But it will happen, and it will be worth it. That's the most important thing.
Okay, so taking sex off the table. First thing, that kind of weeds everybody out that really doesn't want to be around.
Yes, it
But
does.
then you have those, because you're not, they stick around to see if they can conquer you. What
Oh,
do you do with that one?
for the one that try to test you to see.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, there are going to be hunters out there that say the right words to try to make you pivot on what you said. Back in my days, that's how I was a long time ago. Like I said, I didn't have a good example. Now that I'm a grown man, I don't play with women's heart like that. It's not good to do that, and I will never do that, and I would never allow a man to do that if I know that he's doing that. So the thing is, you just have to watch the fruit. You'll there's this thing that a guy will either talk more bedroom talk, or he's going to talk more godly talk. So you got to see, where is he at? What is he talking about the most? Even though he knows your boundaries, if he's talking more about sex, then he's talking more about God, then you probably know what direction he's trying to go. So it's no point in having that person probably around in your life, because that's maybe their mindset. Now, here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with telling a man that you want to wait. I believe that that conversation is important, but you want to make sure that you say it in a way that is not with an attitude, but say it in a way as in, I know as a man that you desire sex, you desire intimacy, but I believe if we wait for the Lord, I believe that if we wait on God, that this will be a better position to put us in, that we'll be able to serve the Lord and do it his way instead of trying to do it our way. And when you talk to some men like that, they will understand and they'll want to be with you for the long haul and respect your boundaries. Now, some men, they still won't respect your boundaries, but if you talk to some men in a way that, like, wow, I like the way that she talked to me, and she just came at me that way, and I will respect her for that. Then some men will stay.
Okay. How do you just flat out know a man doesn't want you? Because a lot of times, as women, we turn the red flag burgundy because we want them. But how do we really know that a man doesn't want us?
You know when you got to ask yourself that question, where do I stand?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Because if you have to ask yourself, where do you stand? Obviously not with him. Because women have this intuition of what's going on. They know that they desire to be loved. They know they desire to have quality time. They know they desire to have affection. And when those things are not happening, then it just disrupts her emotions. And she's like, okay, something is not right here. Here's the thing. I want to touch on a guy that may say, I'm just busy a lot. I work a lot. Nothing wrong with a guy working a lot, but maybe he shouldn't be in a relationship, because relationships cause you to have communication, texting, or even talking on the phone, or videoing each other. If he can't do that, then he probably shouldn't be in a relationship. So there's nothing wrong with a busy man. If he's busy, maybe he needs to tend to his work and not tend to a relationship. So nothing wrong with that. So the thing is, a woman will know by his actions, by his communication, because when he communicate with her, how often is it? Is it just every other day? Is it every day? Is it every other week? It doesn't take someone long to just send a text, hi, I'm thinking about you. Even if it's a busy man, I'm busy right now, I can't text much, I can't call at this moment, but just letting you know I'm thinking about you. If he can just do that, then that lets you know. But if he can't send a simple text and it takes him a couple days or a week to text back, obviously you are not that important to him. You are not a
Mm.
priority. A man that wants you is going to make you a priority in his life. Bottom line.
I hope I know she's not gonna get mad. I'm not gonna say her name, but we were talking, and she had a friend. He went out of town. They've been dating maybe about 4 months. He went out of town, and I think she said he landed. He didn't call. So maybe 3 or 4 days later, and she didn't call him. She said she didn't call, and she said once she talked to him, he said, "You sound surprised." How And this is what she said. Well, I am surprised, but I'm glad you're okay. But inside, she was feeling crushed. What does she do with that feeling? Because she still wants to hang on, but
Okay. So this is where I believe when these things happen, we gotta get a context on this. Did this happen once, or has this happened several times? Because if this has happened once, then the first thought is not to just is to fall back right away. Some people's fallback game is too quick. They just like, oh, I'm done. You can't do that every time. You have to have the conversation. So if I was her, if this happened the first time, I would say to her to say, have that conversation with him. Like, look, usually we talk every day, and I know you were going out of town, and I didn't get a text or even a call from you. Is there a reason why? And just listen. Just listen to see. And based on the answer, she can do what she wants to do with that. Now, like I said, if a man is too busy just to not even text you, then and this is his occupation where he's going to be going out of town sometimes and he won't be able to talk to you, then that's a problem, because it doesn't take long to send a 10-second text. If he's going to have to use the restroom sometime, so I mean, if he can use the restroom, he can give you a text or something. Even if he can't call, maybe his work doesn't allow him to call. But what you're not working all 24 hours. So what else are you doing? If you can't even call for just a minute or so. I know that you may be, let's just say you're doing team building at night or something like that, but not even a call to the person that you say that you want to spend your life with, or you say that you're wanting to get to know. I mean, let's just say they were to get married and have kids. Are you going to say that you will go days without even calling your kids to see how they're doing, to say, I love you, or text them or anything like that? So that says a lot. So it's based on that answer that she can do with that what she wants.
What she said to me that he said was, that's not my normal. So you should have assumed that something was going on and you should have just started praying.
So what I would say to that is, okay, that's not your normal, but I'm just trying to get an understanding of why couldn't you text? Why wouldn't you want to text me if you say that you want to date me, or you're getting to know me, or we're dating? Am I a priority or not? Pretty much.
Okay. Why is it so hard for a woman to accept he just doesn't want you?
It can be several reasons, but I believe from women that I've talked to before, they got a little bit of that love, and then something happened, and then they say to themselves, I can change it. If I just do some other things right or something like that, he will want me. And you have to understand, don't chase a man to want you, because if he really wants you, he will come after you, and he will not leave. So I want to say to those women, I know it can be challenging if someone came into your life and they're saying, nah, I don't really want you. But you have to just, you have to let it go. Mm-hmm. And you have to heal from that, because if you keep trying to pressure someone to wanting to want you, and you're putting your heart out there, you're wasting your time on someone that doesn't want you. Here's the thing. Would you stay at a job if they told you flat out, we don't want you here, we just like the fact that you're just here just making us money? If a job told me that, I think I'd be, going to trying to go somewhere else, because if they told me that. So if a guy ever tells you that and you're not wanted, go where you're wanted and not stay where you're tolerated.
We're going to use me. After both of my divorces, I just felt like I wasn't enough. That was trauma from my childhood. I really wanted my father to love me. And my father was a contract killer for the mob, big time dope dealer, a woman beater. So he was who he was. My mom was off doing something. I don't even know where she was. And she did come back. My daughter's 36. She came back when she was 6 months old. She was in my life until she passed this past June. And I've been dealing with some of those issues of why wasn't I enough. I finally settled it about 6 weeks ago. I finally just dropped the bag of rocks and let it go. But I think through therapy, I kind of see it. I kind of see where the problem comes from. And I'm real good at targeting a thing and just calling my life coach. I got her on speed dial. If I call Cassandra or text her, she knows I'm up and she's going to answer. I just tell her how much it's going to cost. I need 5 sessions. Just go cash up the money and we schedule it. But every woman isn't going to do that.
Yeah, correct.
Every woman doesn't have the resources. Every woman doesn't have a pastor all pastors can't counsel. And that's not against the pastor. That's not their calling. So for a woman who doesn't have resources, she doesn't think she's enough, what do you do to help start building her up? So when he does say he doesn't want you, she can start rebuilding again herself.
I say one thing: when a woman doesn't have those resources, I believe one thing she can do, let's just say it's not family there, no support there, or nothing like that, is trying to find like-minded people through like meetups and things like that. That is a safe place. Sometimes at churches there are different ministries that can be a safe place to pour your heart out of what you're going through. Like there could be singles ministries, other recovery ministries, things like that. Um, and if they do that, that's just a starting point. That's just a stepping stone. Um, but I was saying the most important thing is to continue to keep God first, to continue to stay in His Word and to pray. Because when the enemy sees you vulnerable,
Mm.
he's trying to just throw different types of toxic people in your life to show you that maybe it could work again. And the thing is, it's important to just step back, and maybe this is not the season yet for you to put yourself out there, and maybe it's just to heal at the moment. It's not to say it's going to be forever. I mean, some people, it could be 1 year, it could be 5 years. That's not everyone's story. Some people, it could just be 1 month. Who knows? Because God is working through them, and who knows when that point comes when they heal. So when they put Him first and they pray about it and just listen to His voice, they will be in a better position to make those decisions that when a man says he does not want you, all you got to remember is that God wants you
Mm.
and He wants His best for you. So when a man doesn't says he doesn't want you, just let it be and turn to God, and God will never leave you or forsake you. So the thing is, there is challenging. It can be challenging for women because the enemy knows that you desire someone, you desire love. And when he knows that, he tries to put people in your pathway. But like I said, because women are wired emotionally on so many levels, it's that stepping back and just saying, wait a minute, before I just use my emotions to this, what am I seeing? What are the actions of this person? And here's the thing, like I said, you want to go where you are celebrated. If a man doesn't celebrate you, then don't stay there. He You want someone that's going to cheer for you. That's your biggest supporter, that makes you a priority. And if he's not going to make you a priority, then he's just not the one. And you'll have to just accept that he's just not the one. As much as you desire it so much, you have to accept it. It's going to be challenging, but it's going to be worth it in the end, because if you keep chasing someone that doesn't want you, you'll keep hurting yourself and they'll keep hurting you. But if you just you're just waiting for one person that's going to come and love you and want you and choose you for you.
I guess if you've never been chosen, you don't know what that looks like.
You're right. Um, that can be, it's hard, because if you this can stem from childhood. This can stem from just simple things on the basketball team. I wasn't even chosen on the basketball team and things like that. I will say this: you have been chosen by God, and He's the most important. But of course, people want the realistic answer of, what about a person that chooses me? And I get that. It's going to be challenging, but there is someone out there that will choose you. Sometimes you have to shift through the jokers, like I said before, to get to your king. And is it more challenging now in the times we live? Absolutely. It is more challenging. But I believe God that it's still possible. And that's the most important. And not only has God chosen you, Once you continue to believe that God has chosen you, then you have to start choosing yourself. You have to start doing things for yourself, like taking yourself out on dates by yourself sometimes, writing yourself love notes, those affirmations, um, treating yourself. Because until that person comes along, here's the thing, I've learned that no one can make you happy. They just come in and they can add to the happiness, but no one can make you happy. Only you can choose your own happiness. You are the one that's responsible. But yes, it does feel good when someone comes and adds to it. But the first step is choosing your own happiness. And when you choose your own happiness and you choose yourself, then you can wait in line now for someone to choose you. I don't know when it's going to happen, but as long as God chose you, as long as you choose yourself, that's all that matters at this time. Yes, the desire is to have a relationship. The desire is to have marriage. I believe that for you. But do the work and God will give you the desires of your heart. Do the work. And if God hasn't specifically said, no, you're not supposed to get married, you're supposed to stay single, I want you to be a nun or something like that. If He hasn't told you that, then it's still possible for you. Even though you've been through several relationships that have broken you, that have not been successful, it doesn't mean that it's not possible.
I think a lot of women that meet me, I've never been a woman to say, first thing, I don't need a man. That's something and I've never given up on love.
Yeah,
And a lot of us give up on love as soon as something goes wrong.
yeah.
And how do you get for the men? Let me slow down. I get ADD when my mind's running. I got a pair of shoes running through my
It's all
head right
right.
now.
It's
Let me
all
slow
right.
down. Let me slow down. What made you, when you were younger, treat women in a way that wasn't so good? What was the reason that you did that?
How I grew up, I was living in a house with my grandmother, my uncle, my aunt, and my dad. I never met my mother. She was on drugs at the time, and uh, I was only with her for like 6 months. Then my dad had moved me from Rochester, New York, to Akron, Ohio. So when I stayed with them, I would see as a kid all these uh, explicit magazines on the floor, I would say. And I would see that through my uncle's room, my dad's room. My dad was hardly there. He was on drugs too. He would go in and out. And as I would see this stuff, I would see these things as a young child. And as I got older, they would see these little girls going up the street and they say, hey, you need to get with her. And they'd be giving me condoms and things like that. And that was how they were teaching me to just have girls and just go play the field. I didn't have a upbringing of you're supposed to be with one person and save yourself for marriage. I wasn't taught that. I was taught to just go get it, and that's what I did when I was younger. And the reason I changed because I see how it hurt women, and because I was some of those people I was having one night stands, and then next thing I know they're calling my phone, yelling at me, it hurt, all those things, and I seen what it did. So God had to show me you need to stop playing with people's hearts. And because I was a smooth talker back then, I did it for the fact of trying to get in a woman's pants. And I, God had to show me you need to stop that because those are my daughters and I have a plan for them and you're not part of the plan. So um, that's why I changed. But that was my upbringing. I didn't have a good upbringing or an example of that. So I learned it through God and through experience.
Do men Now, I'm not talking about all men, but it seems like through my lifetime, the men that I've met that have had some emotional challenges, it seems like they have to see good relationships for them to be in good relationships. Because most of the men, not most of it, we're going to say 50% of the men that I've interviewed, talked to, they hadn't seen it. Their parents weren't married. So they did what they saw. A woman cannot see a good relationship just from my circle. And I have a tight circle of women. I have
Yeah,
covenant sisters on speed dial that if I'm falling off the rails, they have the right to tell me you're wrong. And I
yeah.
can't argue back. So I have a community of people. Everybody doesn't have that. Why does a man have to see good relationships to have a good one?
I don't think that they have to see. I believe just my personal story, just me, that has happened to. I've seen other brothers that haven't seen that have good relationships and things like that. So I think it can be on an individual basis, but I like as you said, there's over like maybe over 50% of the men that you've talked to before that they have to see something of a good example to see that. And I would say this sometimes, let me give this example. You could take one child and put it in him in an environment of where there's a lot of drugs in his neighborhood and things like that, and a lot of gangs, and then that's all he knows, right? But then you take another child and you put them in an environment where they, let's just say they grew up in the suburbs where they're around a lot of doctors and lawyers and things like that, and they see things differently. So sometimes it can be the environment, and sometimes it cannot be the environment. It will depend on that person, on how they view things, and then most importantly, their morals and values. Uh, that's where it starts young. What type of morals and values are they learning that will not lead them to be the type of person where they don't want to be in a relationship and they just want to play with people's hearts?
Yeah. I'm glad you said that. I was researching something, and a lot of stuff you said when you said pornography, those were some red flags. Their habits, their past sexual experiences, financial responsibilities. So, how does a woman, when she's trying to get to know a man, ask these questions without asking these questions?
Oh, well, that is a really tough question because there's certain questions you want to ask, but certain that you don't want to step on too many toes yet. You know, so it has to be a way where, first of all, I believe when you're first getting to know someone, get to know them first. Don't do the interview process like, do you have any babies, mamas, kids, and all that? What's your career goal and stuff like that? Those are important questions, yes. But I believe in dating that we really don't get to know a person. We just go in for the interview process. It's like straight to interview. Like, okay, you have any brothers and sisters and things like that, or how was your upbringing and things like that. And those are important. But I believe in some of those dates, I teach some people to have what's called an escape room date. And this is why I teach this. It doesn't have to be the first date. I believe if you do something like an escape room, it's going to show you if this person is a team player. It's going to show you if this person will yell at you if you get something wrong or put you down if you get something wrong. You'll see something in a high tense situation when you're in an escape room because you're trying to get out, but you're also trying to help each other at the same time. That can tell you a lot about a person. Also, when you may ride in a car, how do they drive? Are they irate when they drive? When they sit down at a restaurant and the waiter does something wrong, how do they treat the waiter? So some of those things you'll kind of see in habits and things like that. Now, you could ask those questions on were you ever introduced to porn and things like that. You could ask that, but some men may lie about that. They're and so some of those men may keep that as a secret and may not say any of those things, but you have to just see what are the habits. Just pay attention to the fruit. I'm not going to lie. There are some men that have hid things from women for years, and um, the mask doesn't come off till it's too late. I get that, but some men don't know how to hide things for years. Some men, how they're wired, they just trip up and mess up things because y'all have the intuition. Y'all are investigators, or y'all know things, or you remember things like, oh no, that's not what you said last week. What you said was. So the thing is, most guys will trip up somehow. If they're trying to play a role, they will end up making mistakes somewhere and slip up. Is it unfortunate? Yes. But the most important thing is getting to know a person. If you get to know that person, you have a higher chance than just doing the whole interview process and things like that. Interview is nothing wrong with that, but I just think that you should just take the time just to have fun and just get to know that person and then look at the fruit. Pay attention. Just pay attention to their nuances. Pay attention to how they treat people. Pay attention to their words added with action, not just their words. The most important things with action. And that's a start. Um, and then you can get into the deeper questions of sex and things like that, what they believe in and things like that. And I get some people that may look at this and they'll say, well, I want to make sure I don't waste my time. I want to know on the first date.
That
I
was
don't
my
want
next question.
2, 3, 4 dates. I get that, but there's a time and a place for everything. Like like on a lot of jobs, there's like a 2 to 3 interview before you get the job because they're trying to make sure that they have the right candidate. So don't base everything off of one date. You have to just get to know a person, and I get that. I would say maybe average 2 to 4 to 5 dates, and see. Then you get to know if you are going to decide to go back on the date with this person or not, and you'll go from there. You'll know from the first or second date if this is someone that you want to go on a date on again with or not. But like I said, doing that at least gives you a little bit of information on each date instead of just one date. No, I don't want to deal with that person. Now, if something significant happens where they just do something just very traumatic or rude or something, I get that. Just have that one day to be done with it. But there's some people, I believe, that they just don't give a chance, or they maybe read something wrong instead of just really getting to know that person on another day.
Let me see, because you're answering my questions before I get to them, so which is really good. Okay, the question when you was talking about most women want to know quickly, and I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be honest, and make so you can help me stop making so many mistakes. I'm the type of person. If I care about you, you don't have to say you love me. If I feel something, something's in my body, I got to get it out. And I'll talk about the my best friend that I dated. Within maybe 4 months, we've known each other over 30 years.
Yeah.
And all our major everything in life we've shared. Within 4 months, I knew I was over the wheels. And one day he was saying so I said, I love you. And literally he said, what am I supposed to do? I was like, I said, you're not supposed to do anything. I said, that's how I feel. And I wanted you to know. And he had never been around somebody who was that open. If I like you, I just like you.
Yeah.
And I don't say things to get a response from you. But this is taking years of counseling and years of working on me.
Yeah.
Years. I'm talking about years. Even if I feel something. Last night when we were on Wives in Waiting, I had a new friend of mine. Her name is Regina Smith. She waited 13 years, celibate,
Yeah.
and she found her husband. They've only been married 5 months.
Yeah.
And when I asked her to come on like 3 months ago, I thought it had been a year, but it's
Yeah.
only been 5 months. She was patiently and waiting. So help me, because sometimes I think I scare guys off because I'm just real open. And I just think what you see with me is really what you get. And when people say that, that's just not true. It for me, it really is. So how
Yeah.
do I not scare somebody off?
The most important thing is you'll kind of get a hint of how a guy feels about you and when the time to say those things. Most guys will be afraid of that because either they're not ready for that or they haven't been told that early, and then then it gives them cold feet. They're thinking, "Oh goodness, next thing she gonna want is a ring right now." As soon as she say "I love you," that's how some men are wired. Like, oh, she said "I love you," I know she's gonna be wanting a proposal in the next couple of months or so, or something like that, or she's wanting a "I love you" back. That's how we think that some men think. So the thing is, you just want to make sure that you take your time with it. Doesn't have to be a very long time. You'll get a feel of how that man feels about you. And then, like I said, some men are just not ready for the "I love you," or those type of feelings. And some men have been through so many traumatic experiences, they don't know what what that means when someone says "I love you." They'll say to themselves, "I heard that, but I got beat a lot. I heard that, but I got molested." So because that can stay in their mind, when you say that, it doesn't give them a new type of "I love you." It stays in the past of someone told me they love me, but they beat me or something like that.
Mm.
So that's why some of those men are not ready for those words yet, or ready for that openness yet, because of that. But you'll get a clearer picture of what they've been through first before you can be open with them, because once you get a clear picture of what they've been through, you'll know where to step or how to step and how to move before you open up like that.
And he did, I'd say he did maybe 2 months later. He said it, and
Yeah,
he just said it so casually. We were just like on the phone, and I didn't know he didn't have a job because I was in a different city.
yeah,
And I kept hearing him on the train and stuff like that. And I was like, what's going on? And he was like, I'm scared. If I tell you this, you're not going to like me no more. And I was like, tell me what?
yeah,
He was like, I've been without a job for like 3 months. I said, that's all that was? I said, you know how many people have been without a job before? And I think once that happened, a month later, he was like, I love you. And I was like, really?
yeah,
And I didn't say nothing. I didn't make a big deal of it. But when you said about that piece about he was hurt, both of his ex-wives cheated on him.
yeah,
And the reason why we didn't end up getting married too, I mean, he had some other things, but because he just knew I was gonna do the same thing. He knew I was gonna leave, or he
yeah,
thought I was, even though he knew me 30
yeah,
years, he knew me.
yeah,
He's still something lingering in the back of his mind, in his heart. She gonna do the same thing. So
yeah,
to a woman that's approaching a guy like that, that makes you feel like you don't want a person. And I'm not saying I wasted 4 years, but I mean, my husband could have walked by, and I
yeah,
was so focused on him. And believe it or not, there were two other gentlemen I kind of had my eye on, but I aligned myself to be with him. And within months, they met their wives and they married them during the pandemic. And I
yeah,
was like, and one of my daughters, because I got 8 girls, one of
yeah,
my daughters was like, Ma, I told you we should have went to North Carolina. I told you. It was like, but I was just so laser focused.
yeah,
And the worst part is we're not friends anymore.
yeah.
That's the bad part.
That's unfortunate.
That 30, 36 years is now a bust. And it's
Yeah,
not like I can't pick up the phone now and say, look what's going on. My book's coming. I can't do any of that no more. And I regret, that's one reason why I regret dating one of my best friends.
yeah. I understand that.
Yeah, so you helping me. So I'm gonna have to dial my personality back a little bit because
Yeah.
if I like something, if I like the way you walk, the way you move, I'm just gonna tell you. And I can't. So I'm trying to learn how to rewire myself. That's hard for 60 years, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. For some of those ladies that are out there, y'all ladies, don't scare them away, y'all. Don't freak them out. And I know, we know we can do that. So if you have any last thoughts for that woman who's been in bad relationships, whose picker is off, she hasn't been finding the right guys, she doesn't feel enough, what would you say to her in her beginning of her healing process? You have the last thoughts for tonight.
I would say just step back for a moment and make sure that you are choosing yourself,
Mm.
and make sure that whatever hurt that you've been through and you find yourself meeting the same type of person, maybe the my type is not your type. Maybe you have to do things differently. Maybe you have to let God write your love story instead of you writing your love story. So the thing is, there will be times that you'll be bumping your head and you think you meet the right person. And then you're like, wait a minute, I thought this was God sent and it's not. So maybe this is not the season to be putting yourself out there yet. Grow in these areas so that when you see these red flags, that you don't turn them green, because they're not. Don't paint it a different picture because it's not going to change. That's one thing. Also, you want to make sure that you're putting yourself in a position where you are healing from what you've been through, have a good support system, have some people that's going to continue to pray for you. Do something fun for you. Take yourself out on dates and do the things that make you happy. And also make sure that you're learning more about yourself, because even though these relationships didn't turn out good for them, have them sit back and ask themselves, what did I learn from this? And whatever you learn, you'll know that when you are approached about another relationship again, you won't miss what happened last time. You'll know right off the bat, okay, that's not for me. Um, and I get sometimes a woman's clock, maybe she's looking at the clock, or she has a goal to get married very soon. I get that. The desire is always going to be there, but you want to make sure that you just take your time because it's going to be worth it. In this day and age now, there are women getting with men that are not healed, and some of their lives have been taken.
Mhm.
You want to make sure that you do the process of choosing someone, that you never put yourself in a position where you are in a domestic dispute or you're not here on this earth anymore. It's very unfortunate. So I just want to leave you with, take your time and let God write your love story. Let go of the pen, give it to Him. He will do it for you.
You are so amazing.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I enjoy you on TikTok. I enjoy all of your videos, and I've enjoyed you tonight. And I think this whole weekend for me, because this is my third assignment this week. I preached Friday. I was
Yeah.
on Friday night, and we're on tonight. And I've had 4 grandchildren today, the dog, and I have a daughter that's sick all week.
Oh,
We've been
goodness.
running like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
So this is a great ending to my weekend.
Thank
My nervous system is now lining up from last night, Wives in Waiting, having Regina on. She spoke some things over my life. you spoke some things into my life tonight. And I want you to come back and we're going to have like 3 or 4 of y'all on and we're going to get some different opinions and we're going to have some ladies to come on to ask y'all some questions. So the
Sounds
next
good.
we're going to have, because I got a plethora of young women that are in the weight like me, and in the weight properly, empowered that they are who they are and not in trouble financially, not crazy, not sleeping around. They love God, but they're weary at this moment. They're weary.
Yeah.
So I want you to come back and I'm gonna let them fire some questions at you.
Yeah, I would love that. That would
All
be
right.
great.
So y'all, you spent your Saturday night with us on Straight Talk Food for the Soul. Thank you so much, Brian. I appreciate you. I know you have a busy schedule, but I love everybody. And we want to say good night. Everybody have an amazing night. Good night, everybody.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We want your presence.